Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Welcome to one of your favorite streams, ladies and gentlemen. We are here to talk about Arsenal, Liverpool, no one cares about Forest, and Manchester City. Those are the clubs we're to talk about. Wolfie is just here as the dynamo, just to trigger a couple of people. That's it. That's the only reason why Wolfie is here. Anyway, big up to all of you guys. Make sure you guys are slapping the like button. Make sure you guys are subscribing. Listen, we already have 100 people in here. Let's get the likes up early. Everyone, please, right here, right now, please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel if you're yet to do so. And, you know, all the guys that are joining us today, all their links are in the description. Every single one of them, even if they have a second channel, whatever it is. So, what are we here to talk about today? I think LB is going to get cooked today because literally everything he said was wrong. He said Rodrygo is clear of Saka and Salah, and he got dunked on because Rodrygo had a stinker and hooked. He said Van Dijk and Salah are leaving Liverpool. They both signed a contract in this last week. There's so much wrong with LB's takes. He'll be joining us in 2 minutes. Joining us first and foremost, the biggest winner. I got 5 on it. 5-1 win against Real Madrid. He himself did not believe, by the way. Man, like Ashraf is in the building. Hi, Ashraf.
Habibi, don't you dare talk about... First of all, assalamu alaikum. Yeah, how's everyone doing? Big up, like and subscribe. How dare you say I didn't believe when you said 0%? I at least said 10%, Habibi. And I said 10% out of logic. Yes, 10% is way bigger than 1%. Are you okay? Not even 1%. You said 0 at first. You disrespected my club. Today, all of you shall get it, bro. Every one of you guys. But anyways, let's start. You
said 10%, huh? Wow. Sorry.
Yes, 10% is better than 0.
My bad. Anyway, joining us next on the channel, another one of the frauds. The biggest fraud, one of the biggest frauds on YouTube. I think the only one that matches his fraudulence levels is Hamza. Now with Newcastle's win, Forest are actually 4th. Anyway, man like Wolfie's in the building. Hi, Wolfie.
Salam. How you doing? Did he just come on with chest? Did I hear that? I said 10%. That's worse than saying 1%, bro. It's your team. It's your team, man.
No, it's not. It's not about that because I am able to say it is my team, but I'm able to say things logically, unbiased. Give you my logic why I'm saying 10%, saying at best 15%. There's a logic behind it, but saying 0%, there's no logic. 10% of $1 million is $100,000. 0% of $1 million is $0. There's a big difference between 10 and 0.
10% of 100 is 10.
I said 1% though.
Yeah. Habibi, you said 1% after peer pressure from Mo and Terry. Let's relax. We all saw that stream. We all saw that stream.
Ashraf, let's be honest. He is trying to deflect attention away from him still. I mean, my Twitter timeline is full of your face, bro.
You literally said 1%.
I didn't say 1%. I said no chance.
Say wallah right now.
Wallahi, I said no chance. Wallahi, I said no chance.
He said no chance. There you go. That's 0 as well.
Yeah, but I'm not the one saying, he said no chance, and he said 1%, and then LB
I said 1%.
You're deflecting, man. You're filling my timeline, man. All I see is your mug on my timeline, with your blue blazer on. Let's not forget the blue blazer. Yeah?
Big up to everyone locked in. Make sure you guys are liking and subscribing. LB
Big up the blue blazer.
Yeah, LB is joining us in a second. I will be using that blue blazer for an opportunity next week, inshallah. Anyway, regardless, there is, of course, only one place to start, and that's the Arsenal. Arsenal 5-1 win, Ashraf.
Yes, that's
I think the
right.
most positive... Anyway, he's here. I've never heard someone get so much wrong in a period of a week. Van Dijk and Salah are leaving. They both signed the contract. And he said Rodrygo is clear of Saka and Salah. And he had 2 stinkers and hooked. Hi, LB.
Hello, guys.
Yes.
Hi, humble LB. How are you doing, humble LB?
I'm good, bro. How are you doing?
Okay, I'm ecstatic. I'm over the moon, bro.
Are you 10% ecstatic or 100% ecstatic?
No, I'm 100% ecstatic. You know when you bet on a stock.
My community never forget LB. Just so you know, my community is a very vicious community that never forgets. Hi LB, you fraud. Thought Mo and Van Dijk are gone. Man was so adamant. Now look, you look like a bozo. Husam, cook this fraud. Big up LB still. Listen. More LB, it's LB in the description. Forest Fan TV in the description. Ashraf Talks Football in the description. We will cook him about this red line, Teranga, I promise you. But first, we will talk about the Arsenal game because they won 5-1 in it. So, start off with that. Ashraf, talk to the people, brother.
Yeah, look, I think I'm a bit embarrassed for myself, to be honest, because when we did a combined lineup, I said I put 4 Arsenal players. That was stupid of me, honestly. I said I think Partey definitely gets into the combined lineup. I didn't put in Rice. Was I mad?
Do you think
Was
you should have put in less?
as Troops was saying when Rice scored that free kick? He's mad. He's mad, bro. I was mad. Rice should have been there. Rice should have been there. Because I'm sorry, there is no scenario now where you can convince me that A, this guy isn't world class. He's 100% world class. He's one of the best midfielders in the world, one of the best DMs in the world. And this is not a reactionary take because he was that kind of player last season. And then you look at Partey's performances as well. Bruh, we slapped up Madrid. No, let me say it again so it can sink in. We slapped up Madrid. Not in one leg, over 2 legs. Right? Can any of you guys say you went to Madrid and won home and away? I can. Right? Can any of you guys say you're undefeated? Can any of you guys say you're undefeated? I don't give a shit, bro. You could have 75 Champions Leagues. You could be winning 10 Champions Leagues per season. I don't give a shit. It's our time. It's our time. And listen, Wolfie, you and many others, maybe not Husam because he's got 6. But you and those Chelsea fans are sitting there praying that we don't win our first Champions League. Because you know, bro. Like right now, I can easily destroy Wolfie in a club debate because, he'll say, we've got 2 Champions Leagues, but we've got 13 league titles. But he can say, we've got 2 Champions Leagues, and I have none of that. If I say I've got 1 Champions League, he cannot come and say, well, I've got double your Champions Leagues because I can say I've got more. I can say I've got more than 6 times your league titles, right? So there's a difference. Actually, you've only got 1 league title, right?
Yeah.
Or 2.
1.
Oh, sorry. So I've got 13 times his league titles. So that conversation becomes different.
And anyways, back to the game. Times your champion, bro. This is worrying, bro.
Back to the game. Back to the game.
Because 0 times 200 is
this guy doesn't seriously. Do you know math?
Can't even multiply properly.
Seriously, bro. And if I win 1, you don't have 200 times my Champions League. You have twice my Champions League.
Double it.
Astaghfirullah, ya Rab. Astaghfirullah. Anyways, back to the game. Right.
Quick math.
This was
calculator next time if you need any help.
Exactly. I can send you one, Wolfie.
You get one from Amazon.
We absolutely dominated.
200 is what? 0.
It's 0. No, I think he meant like if I have 1 Champions League and he has 2, then he's like, I've got 200 times your Champions Leagues. Huh? What do you mean? That's even worse.
I got double yours, and that's wait, but you haven't even got 1, bro. You haven't got 1.
We're coming to it, Wolfie. Patience. As we have seen from the first and second leg, Rice needs to cook. The rice needs to cook sometimes, so you gotta be patient. Anyways, we dominated this team. We're like, Bellingham, Valverde, Tchouaméni is coming back with vengeance. Ceballos is gonna come back with vengeance. Madrid team, remontada. Vinicius is posting on Instagram, 9 p.m. tomorrow. What time is it? 9 p.m. Yeah, you see my watch, 9 p.m. tomorrow, guys, 9 p.m. Florentino Perez going down to the pitch is like, he's meeting all the players, and the players are so happy to see Florentino. Baba Florentino Perez, we're so happy to see you. Oh, yes, we believe we're going to come back. We believe we're going to come back. Bro, do you think you're playing against Liverpool? Do you think you're playing against Chelsea? You're playing against Man City. This is a club you've never beaten in your life. In your life, you've never beaten us. And, there's so many things to say. I don't even know where to start. We had to try and make the game interesting. Do you know how insulting that is? We had to miss a penalty and give them a goal just to make the tie slightly interesting. And we still ended up winning home and away. 5-1. 5-1. And then people come out saying, and I have a feeling some of these guys might say it. I don't know. I could be wrong. Yeah, but Madrid are shit this season. Madrid are not the same team this season.
Wolfie will say that.
I have not said that. Don't put words in my mouth. I have not said that. I will say
that they are shit this year.
Yeah, exactly. So someone as fraudulent as LB will say. Wolfie, did you say you will say it as well?
Nope.
Okay, good. So Wolfie has some integrity. someone as this ridiculous LB, who we're gonna come to cook in a second because of the Rodrygo take, comes and says, "Yeah, I think they're shit this season. Why did you only give us 10% chance then? If they're that shit this season, and you've seen them lose to Milan, you've seen them." Yeah, fair. But no, but
everyone knows.
But Wolfie is not making an excuse.
Sam said 1%, and last week LB
No,
said,
today you said 0.
But
No,
the
I said
difference
1%.
is, Husam,
LB said
but the
6%.
difference is, even if you guys said 0 or 1, at least Wolfie
Remember
now
I
is
said it
coming
to you
out
last week,
here.
LB? I can
At
do it
least
again.
Wolfie's coming out here saying, you know what? But they still beat a good team. I'm not going to say they're shit. They deserved it. LB's like, Madrid are shit. Why didn't you say before the game that, they're shit, so you could win? You didn't do that, right? Because you thought they'll slap us.
Which leg? No, I didn't think they'd slap you.
The first leg. Before the first leg. The first leg.
Because I still thought they
Before
beat you.
Yeah, exactly. So you coming now and saying their shit is pointless because even though they were shit before they played us the first time, you still thought they'll win. So using that argument now is irrelevant. You cannot use that argument now.
I mean, you said someone's going to say Real Madrid is shit. I agree. I do think they're shit.
What I said is you're going to say they're shit, and that's why we won. What I was saying is
no, it's not. That's not what I said. That's not what I said.
Oh, okay, fair. Because that's what I was implying. Fair enough. Okay, then
Arsenal were very good.
Wait, I'm confused. So LB, do you think Madrid are shit or not shit?
I think Madrid are shit. But that doesn't mean I don't think Arsenal were good. I thought Arsenal were very good.
Anyways.
Both can be true at the same time.
You want me to sit here and say, no, what? No. I know what's going on here. What's going to happen here, yeah? Ash wants me to say that Arsenal were mint and Madrid are mint, and that makes it all mint. No, I'm not going to say that. What I'm going to say is Arsenal were very good. Real Madrid is shit. There we go.
This Real Madrid, that shit, by the way, up until last night, was still playing for a treble, right? So clearly, they are so bad. They're playing for a treble.
1 second. I have to stop the stream. You just said Madrid are shit and Arsenal are mint. So why did you give Arsenal a 6% chance of winning?
No. I said Arsenal were mint.
Why didn't you say 40?
In the games, Arsenal were very good in the games. But before the tie, I expected Arsenal to get beat off Madrid because I thought they'd crumble. They didn't crumble. They were very good. That's what I'm saying. They were mint.
No. You didn't think we'll lose because we'll crumble. You thought we'll lose because Madrid are going to slap us. There's a difference.
I thought Madrid. Oh my God. Yes, I did. I thought Madrid.
Exactly. So you saying they're shit now is in an irrelevant point because by you saying you're shit, that means you're downplaying our performance. It is 100% true.
No. See, you're doing it again. This is what Arsenal fans always do.
I'm not doing shit. You know what we're doing.
Validation.
Nah,
desperate.
We just slapped Madrid 5-1. I don't need validation from nobody.
Man, you want validation like anything.
Because I've just said Arsenal were mint, and that's not enough for you. You want me to sit
more
here and say
validation.
Madrid are so good. You were
okay. So let me ask you this question.
Let me ask you this question. That's what they want to hear.
No. I'll ask you a question and make it very clear. LB, if you had to give a percentage of which is like, what percentage would you give for these two things? No. What percentage would you give for these two things? Arsenal won because they were much better than Madrid. They were the better team versus Madrid as shit. Would you say like 60% of the reason why Arsenal went through is because Madrid as shit, or 10%, or 5%, or 20%? How much would you attribute to Madrid?
That's a weird question because the first part of that question you said, what percentage would it be because Arsenal were better than Madrid? Well, obviously.
Yeah, so how much percentage would you attribute to Madrid being shit as the reason why we slapped them 5-1?
That's a very strange question, bro. I can't lie.
It's not a very strange question.
It's a very strange question.
No, it's not. It's not. It's not.
That question is a question that's still seeking validation.
It still seeks validation.
Yeah, Habibi. It's seeking apologies for absolute
validation, man.
That you guys said and coming. I don't know if you want to discuss the Rodrygo thing now, Husam.
Is this coming from the guy who said Arsenal have a 10% chance of winning this tie?
Yes.
Yeah.
Why did you think you only had a 10% chance?
Because I thought.
Wait, Ashraf. Give me a percentage of why you thought you had a 10% chance. Was it because Madrid were that good or Arsenal were that crap? Wait, what's the percentage?
Because Madrid are that good.
Percent? I want
100% because Madrid are that good. 100% on Madrid.
100%.
100.
How did you give yourself
I was with you on the
stream. They're 100%.
I was with you on the stream when I said no. 100%. The reason why I gave Madrid a 90% chance of going through has 100% to do with them, Nothing to do with their crap. Because I said a prediction. I said this will be the first ever El Clasico final. We're going to see a Real Madrid versus Barcelona final. And I said Barcelona will edge it because I think Barcelona are the best team in the world. So it has nothing to do with Madrid as shit because I didn't have them knocking out PSG. That's why I said they'll be in the final. But you guys are doing the shameless. So when I said I have a 10% chance, I agree.
Wait. When you just
said
100%,
let me just finish this. The reason I'm consistent is because now that we have done this 5-1 walloping of Madrid, I'm coming here saying, damn, we just went up against a Galactico Madrid and we slapped them up. I'm not going to say, well, guys, the only reason, one of the biggest reasons why we beat Madrid this season is because they were crap. That's BS.
No, but you can't do that. You can't do that. I'll tell you why. You just said the reason you gave them 90% was 100% because Madrid were good. Okay.
Yes.
Therefore, for that scenario not to play out, did they need to be 100% bad in your logic for Arsenal to go through? You're kind of doing your own club a disservice.
No. That's not true because the reason we overturned that is because we were phenomenal in both games. Right, which is incredible. Obviously,
no. Not when you've given them 100% chance of the reason you gave them 90% was because they were good. For that percentage to fall, you see what I'm saying here?
My point is, Wolfie, you guys are saying the reason why they got slapped up 5-1 is because has more to do with them being shit. I'm saying that has nothing to do with it. Yes, okay, fair enough. I can say we stepped up even bigger than what I expected, Will. But that's why I'm giving praise to the club. That's why I'm saying Arsenal surprised me and surprised everyone in the world.
Do you think Madrid played worse than you expected them to?
No, I think Arsenal performed better than what I expected them to.
So you thought that was Madrid at the highest level?
Do you think Real Madrid was shit in the two legs?
I think because we made them shit. Not because they were not because we made them shit. I think they tried their best and they just couldn't hack us.
But they were shit, yeah?
Because we made them shit. Yeah.
Okay. So what's your problem with me saying Arsenal were mint and Real Madrid was shit? Why you got a problem with that?
I'll explain why. And if I'm wrong, you can correct me and say that's not the case.
Okay.
Because the way you're saying it, LB, it gives the feeling of you saying, yes, you guys did a fantastic job, but if this was Madrid on form, you wouldn't have knocked them out.
That's not what I said.
Then that's why I'm asking you. If Madrid were good, did you think last season were they good last season?
No, the problem with you, LB, you keep saying that's not what I said, but sometimes it's not what you say verbatim, it's what you're implying.
You're implying, exactly.
No, we can't do that though. You can't live in a world where you imply stuff from shit that people.
But that's why I'm asking you. That's why I'm asking you.
There's two teams. That's why I'm asking you. Football pitch yesterday: Arsenal, Real Madrid. My analysis of the game is that Arsenal were mint and Real Madrid was shit, and for some reason, Arsenal fans can't take it.
Okay, that's why I'm gonna.
They still can't.
LB. That's why I'm gonna ask you this question, and you can answer, so I don't have to worry about you implying anything.
Okay.
If Madrid were as good as last season, because last season they were amazing, right? If they were as
no, I actually disagree with that. I don't think they were amazing last year.
Oh my God. Okay, if Madrid were good by your logic, if Madrid were having
winning La Liga and Champions League.
Did you watch them in the Champions League last year, Husam?
It's fine, Husam. Just so he doesn't dodge around the question.
They did. They shouldn't have knocked us out. They shouldn't have been knocked out by Leipzig. Anyone that watched Real Madrid last year knew that they shouldn't have won that tournament. But anyway,
fair. So LB, if Madrid were good by your logic, that if they were good this season,
I'd say like 3 or 4 years ago when they had Benzema and that. Yeah, go on.
Fair enough. Do you think, based on what you've just seen recently of the two legs, do you think Arsenal would have knocked them out?
I think you'd have a very good chance of knocking them out.
Yeah, like what do you think would have happened? If you had to pick one? Because for me, I'm saying
hypothetical we're doing
no, because you're dodging around the question. I'm saying, I'm asking.
You said you've got a very good chance of knocking them out.
Okay. The validation levels required here are ridiculous.
LB just said fair. So LB just said if Real Madrid were really good as 3-4 years ago, fair enough. Then he thinks Arsenal would have knocked them out anyways.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. I agree with you. Go and want the validation by saying would that Real Madrid beat this Arsenal? That's a validation question.
I don't give a shit if it's a validation question. We've slapped up Madrid. I will get all the validation I need to get. I will come and collect validations. And so the Saka conversation now, right now, this Saka debate is done. I'm sorry, I don't want to hear Saka with Phil Foden. I don't want to hear Saka with this.
Man.
I don't want to hear Saka with Rodrygo.
Nah, LB's take on Rodrygo last week must be revisited.
Yeah, it has to be. Is he still clear?
Before we revisit it, there's a lot Ashraf said that needs picking up, right?
Yeah.
Tell me.
Because there's a few things. This 5-1 reminds me of a similar 5-1. LB, you'll know it only too well. What was the score when Arsenal played you this season? 5-1. Yes? Were we seeing this similar energy after that? Like they'd won something? About they were celebrating?
No, we didn't.
Stay humble, and all this stuff. What happened to them in the league?
Yeah, the stay humble thing. The stay humble thing. I think you're missing. I mean, you're acting very disingenuous, even though you know what you're doing.
Humble after beating Real Madrid. I don't get this.
No. You're missing my point. Your trophy in the Premier League this season was beating Man City 5-1. Your trophy now in the Champions League, the way you're celebrating this, because you said, I don't care about the trophy. Rewind the tape. When I said
No, I said I don't care if you have
the tape.
Rewind the tape. I'll quote what I said, because you said we all have Champions Leagues. I said I don't give a shit about that. I'm talking about
exactly. You care about winning is Real Madrid. So you're telling us this is your trophy
now? Yes, because I've only played Real Madrid. I haven't played PSG.
This is your trophy. Khalas. So if you get knocked out and you don't win
this, guys. Me saying great job at the Arsenal win, me celebrating ecstatically the Arsenal win against Madrid, is saying that's my trophy.
You said you don't give a damn about the trophies, and you just said, I never said that. This is your trophy. And just 5 seconds ago, you said yes.
No, I never said that once. You're misquoting me. I'm not. You said everyone in this panel has a Champions League. I said I don't give a shit about that because I'm discussing the Madrid game right now. Yeah. But you know what you did, so it is fair. The point is, going back to the Rodrygo Saka debate, in my opinion, that's a
just before you go, I just want to clarify.
Saka now is on a level of Rodrygo, of Vinny and Mbappe.
Let's break down what you've already said before you move on to Saka. Okay, before you move on to Saka, if you don't win this Champions League, does this win mean anything?
Yes, of course it does.
Yes, of course it means something.
What does it mean?
Don't be such a stupid thing. What a dumb question. What
if you don't win the Premier League, your first win away at Anfield means nothing.
No. I don't claim Big Six status and all this stuff. No. Let's do this. Did your win against Man City mean anything? 5-1.
A team just humbled Madrid for the first time since Liverpool did in the Champions League in 2009, and he says, did this win mean anything? I mean, it goes in the history books.
What are you talking about?
It goes in the history books.
We beat them 5-0. LB sit on the floor.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, but
he's since 2009, no?
Yeah, because Liverpool, just like Arsenal, beat them home and away. I don't think you did home and away, if I'm not wrong. I think you drew the first game.
Does it matter?
Yeah. So, no, it does matter because a team dominating Madrid home and away is a big thing. So, yes, Wolfie, to answer your question, it does mean something, even if we don't win.
Okay, and on what grounds are you putting Saka and Rice on world class? Why can't Saka you just, hold on, why can't Saka you just say they're on the path to becoming world class, which I would accept?
Because they're not. Saka has always been world class for me from the start of the season.
Said, I have to see them do it in the Champions League.
No. Don't start saying people like me said. I've never said that. My world class definition, and we've discussed this before, is subjective. I need trophies in their cabinet as part of the consideration for it. Saka,
agreed. And
Saka, the right phrasing for me personally is on the road to being world class.
Both of them have Saka has an FA Cup and Declan Rice won the
major. I'm talking majors, bro. You know I'm talking majors.
No. So keeping changing the goalpost. So first,
I don't define it by majors, man.
Habibi, we already debunked this argument because we spoke about Harry Kane being the best striker in the world, or one of the best, and he's world class.
We agreed,
right? And he's won nothing.
This is subjective when it comes to world class and definition. Right.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know why you've got to jump suddenly to pretty much your whole team is now world class.
No, 4 players. I think we only have 4 players who are world class.
Okay, name them.
World class.
Saliba, Gabriel, Saka, and Declan Rice.
And what have they won between them? That is a major.
That's not my definition of world class. That's yours.
I'm just asking you. What have they won between them?
So for you, I agree. By your weird, illogical definition, yes.
Okay. Let me ask you this.
By my definition,
have you ever seen a team that has 11 players that are world class?
11?
Yes, bro, I reckon probably, yeah.
The Galacticos, hello.
Yeah, okay.
Probably.
But in general, would you agree that if a team had 4 to 5 world-class players, you would have expected them to have won a trophy.
You would have
a major trophy.
I think that's also fair.
What I'm saying is, there's been plenty of teams that have had 2, 3, max 4 players that the world classness of them has pushed them to a trophy. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Why not?
So the 4 players you've mentioned, they've been there, at least 2 seasons now?
Yeah.
Apart from Rice?
I would say all of them 2 seasons. No, even Rice. This season
Okay,
is
Rice as well. Right. And we're still sitting on 0 with them.
Yeah.
Agreed.
That doesn't necessarily mean they're not world class. You could then look towards the manager. You could look to the other players and say the standard of the players.
Maybe
I would still stick with the definition of they're on the route to being world class. Now bring a major.
Yeah, fair. But it doesn't make any sense because you're penalizing players for something as if this is tennis. This is why I'm saying Harry Kane, I think, defines this best, because for you to say Harry Kane is not world class because he hasn't won a trophy,
I don't think
you can maybe blame him for him and his team for making bad decisions in career-wise. Yes, you can say mentally, career-wise, he's not smart enough. But world-class for me, I don't look at that because a lot of players do stupid things. A lot of players get advised by stupid people, like how he got advised by his brother. But in terms of his performances over the last 6, 7, 8 years, he is definitely, Caicedo, for example.
Too many big games that he's played in that he's done nothing.
He's played yesterday in a big game and he scored. That's not his problem. He played a big game. He played a big game. That's true, but he also did end up scoring to give them the lead, and they bottled it when they defended really bad.
At the end, and he missed the sitter in the first leg.
He also played against Madrid last season and scored in the first leg when they drew 2-2, and then they bottled it in the second leg. That's not his fault, but that's my point. That's not his fault. I can't believe I'm defending his ex-Spurs play, but that's the reality. It's not his fault.
It's not the reality.
His team didn't get it over the line.
Who missed the penalty against France?
The point is to go back to...
One second, Ashraf. I don't get why both of these guys are talking like football is squash. I just don't get it. Like as if...
Or tennis.
I get it that football players on occasion can still have moments that win games, 100%. But you need a team, and you need a manager, and you need a bench, and you need all of this stuff. Look at, want to hear a prime example? LB's team. They're missing one key player this whole season, and they've absolutely crumbled from one player. So when you come and tell me like, oh, this guy's world, okay, using your logic now.
Is that one player world class?
1 second. With Rodri out, Haaland's not world class.
Yeah. Foden is not world class. Diaz is not world class.
Wait a second.
Guardiola is not world class.
You don't look at world class in just a single moment. You can say someone's had a world class moment, a world class season. If you're talking about a player being world class, then for me, one of the criteria has to be the majors in the bag.
What if he got carried over?
1 second. Who do you think is world class player in the whole Prem, Wolfie? Give me names.
Rodri.
The whole league. Who's world class?
Rodri, Salah, Van Dijk. Who else you got? Haaland, yeah, you'd put Haaland in there. De Bruyne. Alisson, Edison, yeah. Trent.
Ederson.
Trent, yeah.
Okay. Enough? Honest question. Why is McAllister not world class or Enzo Fernandez?
I'd say McAllister probably is world class. I wouldn't say Enzo Fernandez is world class.
Why not? He's won a World Cup and he won young player of the
tournament. You're taking
no, because this is Wolfie's logic, the trophy thing.
No,
right?
It's not. No, I didn't say trophies the singular. I did not. I said it's part of the criteria.
He said it's part of the criteria.
Yeah,
I understand,
but extreme and said anyone that's got a trophy is world class.
But LB, you heard who I mentioned. I didn't go like, is Molina world class? I'm asking about Enzo and McAllister.
Exactly. We didn't.
Yeah, but I just said I said McAllister is world class. Enzo's not.
Okay.
Why isn't Enzo world class?
Think it then? So does Wolfie?
You have a set of eyes. You watch Enzo.
I would agree. I would agree.
No. 1 second. Because I agree. If a player just wins a trophy, that's not enough. I understand that. But he won a trophy while he was the young player of the tournament. He's also been.
Yeah.
Yes. Right. So it's not. We're not just naming someone who won a trophy. We're saying someone won a trophy.
Is James Rodriguez world class because he scored that screamer at the World Cup years ago?
Nah, he didn't win the World Cup though. He didn't win the World Cup.
You guys' logic, he's world class.
Is Luke Chadwick world class because he won the Premier League with Man U?
Nah, but Enzo not only won the World Cup, but he won young player of the tournament, so he was involved. He was one of the reasons why they won it. No, so by your logic, he beats the first and second criteria.
No.
Not just one.
What you've took Wolfie's position and you've took it to the extreme to try and prove a point, which is not
I haven't.
what Wolfie said.
I haven't.
You
I
have.
didn't-
You have. You
No,
have
I
done
haven't
that.
because Husam gave you guys the example and you guys didn't hear him. I didn't say Montiel is world class because he won a World Cup, but he did nothing.
Enzo Fernandez.
Enzo Fernandez
is not world class.
won a World Cup
World Cup is world class.
and contributed. My whole point is, by the way, I don't think Enzo is world class either. I was just giving the example to tell you,
I don't think Enzo's
you you cannot say someone qualifies for world class. I mean, you can say whatever you want, but I'm saying it doesn't make sense to say someone qualifies for world class only after winning a trophy, because someone like Harry Kane who gets advised wrongly, suddenly his performances on the pitch don't really matter because his brother advised him to not to move or advised him to not sign a contract or to sign a contract or whatever it is. It's stupid.
Again, what you're missing the point is I'm saying there are criteria to qualify for conversation of world class.
In your opinion.
In your opinion, yeah, which is a very minority opinion.
And I've always said it's always subjective.
Everyone here needs to understand something. No one will ever agree on definition of world class because everyone defines it differently.
Exactly. So I don't understand why you think my definition is so left field.
Some people define the word class as simply the word 11.
I don't think it's a left field opinion, Wolfie.
Thank you.
I think all professionals, like I cannot think of a single professional, whether it's ex-footballer, manager, whoever, who would even slightly agree with that because they themselves know the difficulty of winning trophies. I'm not saying that, of course, legendary players should end up winning something, and I would agree if you said legacy should include trophies. 100%, I agree. Legacy should include trophies because it's a legacy. But if I'm talking about a world-class player right now, I'm looking at two things. I'm looking at your ability and your performances. If you have had high ability and high performances over a number of years, and you're showing that in your performances, of course you're world class. How could someone like Saka not be world class when there's probably only one right winger in the world better than him, or two right wingers at best in the world better than him? He's top 3 in the world, and probably if you take all wingers into account, he's probably top 5. So it's crazy to say someone in the top 5 category of wingers when there's like 10 to 15 incredible wingers out there. You cannot, but because again, you're going to say, and I don't know if you agree with LB. LB says Rodrygo is world class, or Rodrygo is clear, world class, whatever. But then we've clearly seen that Saka is better than Rodrygo, not just over the last few years, but even when they went head to head.
Yeah, you can say Saka's better. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with saying Saka's better than Rodrygo.
So then my point is, Wolfie, how could someone like Rodrygo be world class if someone is better than him? He's not world class.
When have I said Rodrygo's world class?
But I'm trying to go by that logic that LB uses. You get what I mean? So you don't think Rodrygo's world class either? Because he's won trophies, he's contributed heavily.
I think he's world class.
Okay, there you go. So LB, LB, you also agree Saka's world class, I'm assuming.
I do think Saka's world class, yeah.
Okay, so you don't agree with LB.
Wait a minute, so LB and Wolfie are on two completely different sides.
No. I was just defending Wolfie's position because Ashraf took it to the extreme.
I didn't take it to an extreme.
You did take it to the extreme. You said basically, you said Enzo Fernandez is a world class player because he's won a trophy, which is not what Wolfie said.
And what else did I say about Enzo? Won a trophy and what else?
And what, he won the young player?
And he was very important, pivotal.
And so exactly. So I'm not just picking players who won trophies. I'm picking players who contributed.
7 good games in a tournament and won the World Cup, and then all of a sudden that means he's a world class player forever.
Yeah, I mean, but if you believe Chelsea fans, which I don't really believe, he's been also playing really well for them the last 4 or 5 months. I don't know. So, yeah, I don't believe it either. But I'm just, anyways.
Boys, I gotta jump.
Yalla, see you.
Bye, bro.
Yalla, you fraud. See you.
So,
anyways, LB, don't deflect. Rodrygo.
Yeah,
Rodrygo.
Before we open up that can of worms, let me just address a couple of super chats, and then we'll open up that can of worms. Cool. Big up to my guy Echo Falls, who says Arsenal must have made them shit against Valencia too.
Probably.
Oh, God, you guys. I feel like Arsenal could win the whole competition, and you guys would just not give them credit. You guys are so shameless, I swear to God. Suddenly, okay, so before the PSG kickoff, Echo Falls, can we agree that PSG are amazing? Before the ball is
PSG are very, very good.
Okay, so regardless of result, you're not going to say PSG are shit.
No, PSG are very, very good.
Who do you think will go through between PSG and Arsenal?
I think Arsenal will go through.
I think, you've not got Partey. I think that's going to be a big miss, especially with their midfield.
In the first game, yeah.
Is that just the first leg?
Just the first game, yeah.
I think Arsenal just edge it.
Arsenal fans in the chat, I'm willing to accept bribes. I am a corrupt official. The blue jacket is in the next room. That's all I'm saying. Don't send through already. First, give me your offers because I'm gonna put auction. I'm gonna see who's.
Yeah, I think for me, Arsenal just edge it because I look at PSG's defense, And I think they're weaker than you. And I also think they're less clinical than you. Well, less clinical than Saka.
Probably. I'm not gonna lie. I rate their midfield, but I think our midfield can match them, if not better them. I'm not.
I think the way that Wolfie defines world class is very dangerous and shit. I think world class is something very subjective. I get it, but here's the problem with the world class. You cannot just keep throwing out world class to every single Tom, Dick, and Harry. I'll give you a prime example. Here's how I realized even my own definition of world class was wrong. Me personally, I used to say world class is top 3 in your position in the world. But then 2 years ago, all the left backs on the planet were shit. Genuinely. There was a point in time like 2 years ago where like Robertson fell off, Davies wasn't rated, Mendy was starting for Madrid, Balde was still a child. There were no good left backs in the whole planet. So I was like, shit, am I supposed to sit up here and call like Alphonso Davies world class when he clearly isn't? So it's just like, I look at world class as consistency and constantly delivering. That's how I look at world class. Like, I do think Saka's world class. I wouldn't say Rice is world class just yet, but I do think Saka's world class. I think that he's the only world class player at Arsenal currently. I think world class at Liverpool is only the foremost.
No, you don't think Saliba's
Saliba?
No. And I don't even think McAllister's world class either. I have a higher standard. I think Salah, Van Dijk, Trent, and Alisson are the world class players at Liverpool. World class players at City are Rodri, Haaland,
obviously KDB fell off, so maybe not
KDB 100% is world class, 100%. So KDB, Rodri, Haaland is world class. And who else would I say is world class? You could say Ederson as well, despite the fact he fell off. He is of course up there. So I would say he's world class.
I agree with your criteria.
World class players, Spurs don't have
yeah, none. Chelsea have none. I agree with your criteria. The only thing I add for me is I look at a minimum of 2 years performance, because I've seen players have the best
and
season
then dip. Yeah,
and then fall off. But I know if you do it for at least 2 seasons and then you continue.
But Kevin De Bruyne is an example. Despite his like fall off, I still say he's world class because he is world class.
Yeah, because you've got to protect the player's legacy when they become a certain age. If Salah,
I disagree with that.
What?
What do you mean?
I disagree because for me, look, I think you can say
because he won't be if he went on the pitch.
No. I'm saying I agree that when I look at world class, I also look at the current moment. For me, KDB's legacy is already etched forever. Like, it's never going to change. And I've even said he's the greatest midfielder of all time in the Premier League. But if we're talking about today and now, I'm saying compared to the midfielders I'm comparing him that are playing today, I wouldn't put him first. I wouldn't put him second. I wouldn't put him third. I wouldn't put him fourth. I would probably not even put him in the top 10.
Yeah, but
that's That's just out of age.
I think world class is a tag.
Agreed.
I don't think
no.
Hear me out. I don't think world class is something that comes and goes. I give prime example. Luka Modric. 40 years old, I would still consider him world class. Because world class is something that you earn and you keep.
Facts.
That's what I think. Unless you're like so shit that it's laughable. Like, you know, if like Salah is world class, all three of us agree. If Salah has 1 goal in 38 appearances next season, okay, we'd say like obviously he's lost that tag now. But other than that, like you have to just be significantly shit in order for me to say like you're no longer world class. Kevin De Bruyne just affected the Premier League game like 4 days ago. I get it, he isn't one of the best right now. You are correct, but it doesn't mean he's not world class because it's a tag. He earned.
No, I think in his career, would you look back and say, was KDB a world-class midfielder? 100%, there's no question. But if I'm talking about the current day-to-day in terms of form, in terms of...
You don't need to do that, though. You don't need to do that. Because
but I'm doing it. I'm doing it that way because I'm looking at... But for me, the reality is I cannot hold on to a lot of world-class players from before. I'm trying to basically say who's playing at a world-class level.
Would you say Cole Palmer is world-class?
That's what I'm trying to say. No, of course not. Because he's only done it for 1 season.
2 years.
I don't consider this year as like that kind of. I think
Palmer this year.
Yeah, I think he stat padded a little bit. It's not his fault, obviously.
He still has 22 GA.
Palmer's world class. I would say Palmer's world class, but he will be. But he's not.
I don't think he's not. I don't think he's world class.
I
think he will be.
My point to Ashraf, I don't think you need. I think you're going into too much detail. I don't think you need to do that, right? Because
because LB, I'll tell you why. Because I used world class tag to define who I think is the best in the world now.
But
like
I'm saying I don't think you need to do that, because when someone says to me Modric is world class, I know the fact that like Modric is not a starter week in, week out, and he can't be.
Of course.
But I understand that because you what you're saying is Husam is right. He's earned that tag as a world class.
It's a tag.
Kevin De Bruyne, is maybe right now is he world class compared to other midfielders in the world? I don't know. Maybe he is, maybe he's not. But when someone says he's world class, I understand that they don't mean he's like the best midfielder in the world right now. It's an attachment thing. It's a legacy thing.
Prime example is the Salah Kevin De Bruyne conversation, because when Salah's contract was expiring, LB did a video saying he would take Salah at Manchester City, and now that Kevin De Bruyne is leaving Manchester City, there are Liverpool fans who are literally photoshopping Kevin De Bruyne in a Liverpool shirt. Despite the fact that they might not be as amazing as they once were, because they have that tag, it makes them special. But anyway, let me just carry on. Big up to Ryan, who says, John W. Henry, my owner, a great businessman, FSG in. We've gone from having Klopp and Linders managing us to the nerds back in charge. FSG, I'm in awe. Edwards and Hughes, the best around. You flip-flop Ryan to a level that's absolutely abnormal. You messaged me last week saying McAllister is better than Gravenberch. And then when he, 4 months ago, you said he's the Argentinian Harry Winks. Like, it's just, you're unstoppable when it comes to flip-flopping. I think you are a bigger flip-flop than my Arab sandal that I used to leave my house. Big up though.
What big up the super chat though? Damn.
Yeah, big up. I just said big up. قول بسم الله ما شاء الله damn.
بسم الله ما عصبتني because someone gave you a super chat. Allah يرزقك. But someone gave you a super chat and you're like shitting on him. I was like, huh? I know why. I get it.
Ryan is that type of guy. Ryan is that type of guy.
Yeah. I saw it. Yeah.
So much, bro. He flipped off so much. I'll only give Arsenal credit if they win the Champions League. It's a good result for Arsenal, though. Arsenal made Real Madrid look average. I do agree with that, because we have to somehow, to an extent at least, keep similar energies pre-game and post-game. Like, I can't be someone who said Arsenal have a 1% chance and then come back after the game and go like, oh, Madrid are shit. No. Like, I think that's very I think Arsenal made Madrid look like shit the way that they played. That's my honest opinion.
They contributed to it, but Madrid were shit.
Yeah, I think Madrid being shit played less than a 10%.
I also think
I have to be generous.
In the first leg, got his tactics well wrong.
Arteta definitely outcoached
Camavinga and Modric in the middle was just a disaster.
Yeah, he had no other choice. What choice did he have?
Could you not just say to be world class, you need the ability plus consistency, but for legacy and to be an all-time XI convos, you need the trophies and the awards?
Exactly.
I
agree with that, Sam
Brown. Like, when you're talking about world class, me and LB agreed on this. Like, I don't think you just wake up one day and, okay, you're maybe not as good as before and you stop being world class, because you could still show that in spurts. Like, you could still, every now and then, like Kevin De Bruyne now, probably once every 4 games can show you that he's world class. Is that as good as Kevin De Bruyne a year ago, who like did it every game? No. But he can still show you something that others midfielders in the league, even now in their young age, still can't do.
No, but Husam, correct me if I'm wrong, Sam, in the comments, but I think he was referring to the convo about Wolfie earlier, where Wolfie said
the whole trophies thing. I've already debunked this 100 times. So many people on the planet rate Gerrard above Scholes. So many people on the planet rate Lampard above Scholes. Many people in the world say Ronaldo is the best winger in Premier League history. If we were to just include trophies and trophies alone, or even make trophies like the 60% or the 70%, then the conversations become ugly in football. Because the best left back of all time becomes Maxwell immediately. Because he won 2 trebles. He won 2 Champions Leagues. He played for Inter, Barcelona, and PSG.
But you're doing the thing again. And again,
I agree. Wolfie didn't say that. Wolfie didn't say that.
I'm not talking about Bebe. I'm not talking about Greening. I'm talking about the starting left back. I understand, in order to be like remembered and legacy and all this, you have to have some form of trophies. You want to know what ruins this? LB, you want to know why we're having this debate? The only reason why we're doing this whole conversation is Harry Kane. Because he's the only one that defies normality when it comes to this conversation.
Well,
he's legitimately the only player in history to have 0 trophies. He's legit the only one.
And do you not think that's because his mentality is ass?
No, okay, but then you put Haaland as world class, but Haaland didn't deliver any final or semi-final. So why is he world class?
Oh, come on,
yes, he's won trophies, But I can argue, and I'm not saying that's true. By the way, I'm not saying that's true.
Extreme position.
No, LB. I think Haaland is world class, but hear me out. If you're saying Harry Kane has flopped in the big finals, which I don't think he's flopped in every final, I think he's shown up in some clutch moments, but unfortunately his team was not good enough. But if we go by that logic, the reason I'm trying to tell you that it doesn't make sense is because Haaland never stepped up in the finals or semi-finals.
Okay, let me just remind you something.
But I don't blame Haaland for it. I don't blame Haaland for it.
Ash, let me just remind you, 2 years ago, we won the league and he broke all Premier League records, including records that existed when there was more matches in a season. And he did that in a 38-game season. So he's contributed to titles.
How does that discredit
Allah is coming for that record, Lewis.
How does that does not discredit Kane in any way? Because Kane did not play in it. No, it doesn't. What do you mean?
Opportunities. Liverpool final champion.
He scored 36 goals.
Shit. Yeah.
But he was back after a long injury.
If Harry Kane was a plumber. 1 second. If Harry Kane was a plumber and his career never existed, I don't think this conversation arises. But the reason why this conversation is a thing is literally him. Because he's the only one that defies logic. No one in history, because we can all sit back and we can bring someone who has never watched football and we can make him watch a Harry Kane game or a comp and he'll go like, yo, this guy's unbelievable. Like, he's actually elite.
But he is an elite level finisher.
But then you go to like his trophy page and it's 0. The problem is, I'll give you an example. Cantona won everything except the Champions League. Gerrard won everything except the Premier League. You know, R9 won everything in football other than the Champions League. Like, you have so many examples of players who are world class and rated highly, who maybe missed out on 1 competition, 2 competitions, whatever it is. The problem with Harry Kane is he has 0. And that's why he defies logic.
So this is what I'm saying, though, with Kane. Yeah, he is a world-class finisher. No doubt about that. But in terms of being a world-class player, you've got to deliver in big moments. And this guy does not deliver in big moments. He doesn't.
What are big moments? Define big moments. Like, do you not think yesterday's game was a big moment?
Okay,
I'll tell you when.
Champions League final against Liverpool. England versus
he plays for
France,
Spurs.
He blasted a penalty over the bar. England versus Italy when he had a 5-yard pass to Raheem Sterling. He could have had a tap in to go 2-0. He greeded it.
He was top scorer that tournament. See, everything you've just mentioned, I've debunked.
No, you've not debunked anything. Because I've agreed that he scores goals. I've just said he's a world-class finisher. I'm talking
No, but he doesn't just score goals. No. But he's not just
big.
Haaland is a world-class finisher. LB Haaland is a world-class finisher. Kane is not just a world-class finisher. He's also an incredible playmaker. He holds onto the ball really well. What are you on? He's not just a finisher.
In the big moments, he doesn't deliver. I've just give you 3 examples.
What is big moments? Because by that logic, Henry doesn't deliver in big moments. Because outside the Confederations Cup, he's never scored in the final, or I think not even assisted.
Necessarily just about finals.
Okay, so Harry Kane has
examples of some big games that he hasn't delivered, and he's had big moments.
And I've debunked it by giving you other examples of other big games where he has delivered, he has scored. I've given you other examples where he has
shown up. Is he the top scorer in North London derby history?
He is, and
what?
But that's a big game for him. That's a big moment for them. If a team like Spurs,
nothing game. Spurs don't win the league.
LB, if a team like Spurs. For a team like Spurs, finishing top 4 is like Man City winning the league, because in the end, that's their level. So when he ends up scoring 2 goals against us to get them top 4, that is a big game. When it comes to a game where they have to win, they have to win to get top 4, and they end up scoring.
We're not doing it for a player big world class. They're scoring goals to get Tottenham top 4.
Okay, fine. I spoke about Champions League. You didn't like that. I said he scored in the Champions League against Madrid and against Inter Milan last night. You didn't like that either. Those are big games. Because he showed up. His team didn't.
The first leg, he had a huge chance which could have changed the tie. Didn't score it. He also had a chance towards the end of the game. Didn't score it.
There's not a single striker out there in the world who has 100% conversion. So yes, he missed a sitter. I agree.
No, but there's strikers out there that in the big moments that truly matter to put silverware in the trophy cabinet, they deliver. Wayne Rooney. Yeah.
Nah. You're saying that out of hindsight because you right now, you're saying it out of hindsight because right now you're remembering back the moments when they scored big goals. But in that same game, I guarantee you, if you go watch the entire 90 minutes, maybe Drogba is the only exclusion because that Chelsea-Bayern Munich game, Chelsea did not attack.
Drogba is a good example because Drogba in terms of consistency, it wasn't there. Let's all everyone cut the crap. Allow the nostalgia. He literally had a whole season.
His numbers
where
are
he scored 5
shit.
goals, and another season where he scored 9 goals. Okay, so allow this whole nostalgic crap. There's a reason why they signed Crespo and Shevchenko and all those strikers, because Drogba had inconsistencies. However, when it came to big games,
but you would take
cup finals, he's Mr.
No, I
Cup
wouldn't.
Final.
Oh my god. You would take
Say that again?
Drogba over Kane, bro.
You know why? Because I genuinely believe if Harry Kane made that move to City 3 years ago, whenever the hell that was,
champion at City.
Maybe.
Yes, and I believe he would have won the treble anyways. I believe he would have won you guys the treble anyways.
That's great. I think if I would have played striker, we would have won the treble. You don't know. You can't say.
No, it's not the same, LB. Now you're being disingenuous, bro. You're comparing yourself to Harry Kane. You're comparing yourself to Harry Kane.
Scenarios. I'm giving you cold hard
LB,
facts.
we're giving hypothetical.
Delivered in the big
LB,
games. Drogba, and you're telling me you take.
We're giving hypothetical scenarios.
For a whole season,
season,
if you tell me right now I'm building a team and I can have prime Kane or prime Drogba for a season, like for 38 games, I'm taking Kane. For a final, I'm taking Drogba.
I'm taking Drogba. Yeah, so at the start of the season, if you could have one.
But by the way, for a final, I'm taking Drogba over Henry in one off game. For a final, I'm taking Drogba.
I'm saying, who would you take for the season? You take Drogba.
Kane.
For the
Kane,
season,
100% Kane.
You take
Easy.
Drogba, bro. Come on, man.
No, I wouldn't.
Why would I do that? Let's just move on. Big up to AMT.
Nostalgia.
With the 80s who never won the World Cup were considered world class by many
people. Exactly.
Yes.
Socrates, Carlos Alberto, everyone called them world class back then.
So many good players back in the day.
They didn't win the World Cup. They failed against Italy. So then now what happens?
But again, I'm not. That's an extreme position. You keep taking extreme positions.
That's Wolfie.
See what you two keep doing. You keep taking extreme positions to the argument.
No, but it's not extreme because
you are.
When I'm trying to debunk, a logic, I'm allowed to use any example in said logic. That's why Maxwell is the perfect example I used against Lee, even in this whole debate, because Maxwell has more trophies than Ashley Cole as the starting left back. Do you understand? So
yeah, you're missing that point.
Hear me out. I'm not bringing up someone who's from the bench.
Well,
I'm bringing someone who started for Ajax, started for Inter, started for Barcelona, and started for PSG, and won all those trophies as a starting left back.
Right.
But because we watched Ashley Cole and we watched Maxwell, and there is a crystal clear difference in their levels, I don't need to go like,
trophies do not equal player necessarily being world class. And that's what you keep going back to when you're talking about Maxwell.
Yeah, but we're disagreeing with you that it's a criteria to even qualify. We're saying it's not even a criteria.
No, I don't think it's necessarily a criteria. Yeah, I just think it's something that should be considered based on longevity in the game, based on how many big games they've played. So Saka,
no, but here,
example,
LB,
I think Saka's world class, but Saka's not won anything, right? He played 10 minutes in the FA Cup game 5 years ago, right? But I still think Saka's world class, even though he's not won anything. Harry Kane, I don't think he's world class because Harry Kane, for me, has had many opportunities to deliver the goods in big games and has failed. And that's why Drogba's better than him.
I don't know. I find it so weird for you to say that because I don't think there was a single scenario where Harry Kane dropped the ball when they were favorites or when their team were better.
Okay.
I think every single time Harry Kane did not win a trophy, the other team was much better.
Can I give you the examples? Italy, final. 1-0 up. He's got a 3-4 yard pass to Sterling. Decision making. If he passes it to Sterling, Sterling's got a tap in open net.
It's not Italy, it's Croatia. Croatia in the semi-finals of the World Cup 2018. Italy was 20.
Okay, I thought it was
Croatia.
Okay, whoever it is,
Took
the wrong decision. England get knocked out. Yeah, England versus France, penalty, big moment. Needs to score. 10 minutes left. Blazes it over the bar. Yeah, Champions League.
But that's
absolutely the show.
But that's first of all, the Liverpool one should not count. The Liverpool one should not count because.
Okay, 1 second. So Kane, so I ask you a question. LB. Big up to AMT as well. Thank you so much. I want to ask you a question, LB.
Ask me.
Didier Drogba, you mentioned him as the example. Okay. How many strikers in Premier League history do you put above Didier Drogba? Name them.
Aguero, Rooney,
Henry,
Shearer, Henry. Maybe Suarez. Yeah, Suarez. Who else we got in there?
Suarez from his Premier League stint or like you're talking about
Premier League,
career
Premier League.
Suarez.
They're just Suarez is a good player. I know he didn't win too much at Liverpool.
Andy Cole, Alan Shearer.
He didn't win. No, he didn't win anything at Liverpool. Not too much. He didn't win.
But I still put
Ruud
him in
van
there,
Nistelrooy, do you put him above Drogba?
Ooh, similar.
Yeah,
I put him about the similar level, maybe slightly better.
Okay,
Than
but when you
Drogba.
say similar, I give you an example. The reason why I brought up Drogba. Drogba played 9 seasons at Chelsea. Okay?
Yeah.
Starting striker. Let's go, because with striker, goals matter. Same thing with your striker.
No.
Hear me out.
No. Because I know what you're going to do. I know you're going to do. You're going to bring up his goals and say, "Oh, he only scored 10 goals a season or whatever."
In his 9 seasons at Chelsea, he only scored more than 20 goals twice.
I know he did. I know.
He had years where he scored 5 goals, 8 goals, 10 goals, 12 goals.
Yeah, I know.
Those are numbers that currently we are seeing the likes of Ollie Watkins get.
No, wait, what we're doing here? No.
I'm not comparing Drogba to Watkins. I'm just telling you.
He's just telling you that those are he's telling you those are the numbers.
Now you're taking it extreme.
Yeah.
Let's not go extreme.
You said Drogba and then said that's numbers that Watkins gets. You're comparing him to Watkins.
Factually,
in terms of numbers. In terms of numbers, yeah, that's correct.
So we're just saying who scores more goals is a better striker? No,
I am not saying who scores more goals is a better striker. I'm talking about consistency, LB.
Right, but if your consistency constantly means you don't win nothing, you're consistently failing, mate, because you're not winning.
And if you're consistently not putting up numbers, but your team is winning, that doesn't mean you necessarily were important to winning your team trophies.
Oh, the disrespect is mad. I can't believe what I'm listening to. Right,
what do you mean disrespect? He has 5 goals in a season.
You're just going for a guy who scores.
Well, this is deflecting from Rodrygo and Saka.
I've already said that Harry Kane is a world-class finisher. But the fact is, in the big moments, this guy does not deliver the goods. Don't believe me? Check his trophy cabinet. Drogba delivers the goods. He doesn't score as many goals as Harry Kane, and he's not as good a finisher as Harry Kane.
You're so frustrating.
But you know why that argument is gonna
both just said. Me and Ashraf both just said, forget Kane. We're taking Drogba in a final over Henry, okay? Right. Over Salah. Happy? Okay. We're in a one-off game, in a final, we get it. But when you're telling me in a season, in a 38-game season, someone who has seasons with 5 goals, 9 goals, 10 goals, I'm not taking over proven goal scorer.
Well, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. But the fact is,
that doesn't matter.
There's only one competition out of 4. I'm taking.
No, and I'll tell you why your argument also will fall on its head now. Because this season, Bayern Munich are going to win the Bundesliga, where Kane won them the Bundesliga because he's their top scorer. He's the best player so far. Does that change something for me with Kane? Has he performed differently?
Yeah, that's AMT's
has he performed differently
in the German league? That's what the AMT
exactly. Yeah, but nothing changes with Kane. He's performing exactly the same way. Nothing's changed.
Hang on a minute. I will give credit to Harry Kane for his goals this year for Bayern Munich. But let's not do this thing where we're pretending that Harry Kane has come in and just like he's the reason why Bayern Munich have won the league. Yeah, Bayern Munich have won this league 9 times out of the last 10 years. So what we do?
Yeah, agreed. But if you're saying that he's failed in the big moments, he's not failed in the big moments this season. In the Champions League, in the Bundesliga, whenever he had to show up, he showed up.
Ashraf, yes, I'll give him credit. I'm not a Kane hater. I'll give him credit this season for his goals in the league, which will result in a title. But I'm also going to caveat it with like, you are at Bayern Munich, mate, where they win pretty much every league title.
Okay, thank you. Good, that's good. So now keep that same energy when you go to Tottenham. You were at Tottenham, mate. So of course you might not be expected to win
you're not going to trophies.
Yeah, you have to look at both sides. You have to look at both sides.
Okay, so what about? So he's been there 9 years, and all these goals. You guys are gassing all these goals. All these goals that Harry Kane scores every single year.
Yes,
4 trophies a year because most of the time they're in Europe. Couldn't deliver one single trophy.
Because I'll tell you why. Because 2 world-class managers who have never ended trophyless in any club came here and ended up trophyless. So it's not clearly it's the club. How could you blame Harry Kane for something that 2 legendary?
Harry Kane's goals have been irrelevant.
They haven't been pointless. Again, LB, they're pointless if you're someone like Lee Gunner who says you either win a trophy or you have completely failed. So someone like Brighton failed this season, even if they finished 4th, for example, or Forest. In that scenario, yes, it's pointless. But if you are someone intelligent looking at the context of the games, like top 4 for Forest is a big achievement, top 6 for I don't know, Bournemouth, if they get it, is a big achievement. If you're someone who applies context that way, then no, they didn't mean nothing. They obviously meant something because it got the club.
It doesn't make him a world-class player.
It does when he's performing better than any striker in the world.
The problem
of course
is
it does.
Okay, I'll just end this debate here. The problem with LB is he's removing consistency completely. He's saying a striker that has seasons with 5 goals, 4 goals, 10 goals, 9 goals is better than a striker.
Could be better than Harry Kane.
Just because. So if I take prime Harry Kane, put him in 04-05 Chelsea, they don't win the league. Even though he's crystal clear a better striker than Drogba.
You can't do that because that's just...
No, but why are you saying you can't do that? But I can.
You two, I've not done that once yet. You two both on this debate, I've gone to hypothetical situations and gone, if you did that, blah, 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 blah.
Guess what? Football debate is all about hypotheticals, mate.
Exactly. We make educated guesses based on what we know.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's just... I could do that and just say something stupid. The fact is, I've kept...
No! You missed out the word educated guesses.
Which haven't meant anything. Drogba has scored goals which have resulted in trophies, just like them other strikers that you asked me to rate above Kane has. Kane has had 9 seasons at Spurs, 4 trophies a year, where all them goals have meant nothing because he's not won anything. He's a great finisher, he's a world-class finisher, but he's not a world-class player until he actually wins something.
By that logic, is it Inzaghi a bit...
Ashraf, I want to talk about Rodrygo and Saka because that's his bigger L. For everyone who says Madrid are shit, how many Madrid players did you have in your combined 11 before first leg? You see, at least with me, I hold my hands up. LB is just disingenuous and he has that in his blood. So he can...
No, we're not doing this again. Yeah, you give them a 1% chance of going through.
And you give them 6%.
Right, so I respected them more than you.
LB, do you understand what you're doing is worse than what Husam is doing?
Right.
No, I did. But let me tell you, guys, I know that time the Arsenal fan tweeted, "Oh, thank you for supporting us." That Arsenal fan is an idiot. He didn't watch the whole show. But the reason why what you're doing is worse, LB, is because Husam is basically saying Arsenal have a 0% chance of going through. Now the 2 legs are over. Husam comes out saying, "Damn, I was wrong. Arsenal went through because Arsenal cooked the hell out of them." Yeah. You're coming out saying, or fine, implying, or whatever it is, that Arsenal were mint. Yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna coach you. I'm gonna coach you so you don't say I didn't say this.
Okay.
Arsenal were mint, but Madrid was shit. The reason why you're saying Madrid is shit,
and they were shit, and Madrid was shit.
Arsenal were mint.
Real Madrid was shit. Again, you're doing that thing again.
Yeah. Okay, Arsenal were mint and Madrid were shit. The reason why it's irrelevant now is because if you came before because we discussed this in detail the last 2 weeks, right? If you came 2 weeks ago before the first leg was played and you said, I think even though Madrid are shit, I think Madrid will go through, I would have said, fair enough. But you didn't bring that up.
Talk about the game.
You get what I mean? You didn't bring up Madrid was shit.
I'm talking about the game.
Sorry, go ahead.
Arsenal in the game were mint, which should be enough for Arsenal fans, but obviously it's not. Real Madrid was shit.
I mean, we're having a debate. It's not that deep, to be honest. Okay.
I really struggled.
Yeah, anyway, I do agree it's not that deep. So let's move on to the more deep debate. Big up to everyone locked in. Big up to everyone locked in, guys. You want to know what's a real bad conversion rate, even worse than Drogba? You guys is like ratio. We have 500 people in here. Yeah, that's worse than Drogba's conversion rate. So I need you all to step up just like Drogba did in the big game.
Conversion rate
and hit the like button. Just allow it, LB.
Guys, like the video.
You are deflecting. Everyone hit the like button. Everyone subscribe to the channel. Let's talk about Rodrygo and Saka
before we... How many trophies per goals does Drogba have?
Don't deflect, LB. We're not going to bite. We're not going to bite. We're not going to bite.
Very interesting.
Rodrygo versus Saka.
So,
Rodrygo versus Saka.
Last week on this very stream, Rodrygo is just better, mate. He got subbed off. Two stinkers in a row against the Arsenal, while Saka dinked Courtois in a high pressure moment. Talk to me, brother. What's going on?
LB, before you
start. No, there's no before. No. Let him talk. I want to hear. No.
I know.
I'm not. Let him speak. I don't care. Let him speak.
Fine.
I want to hear his waffle first. Go ahead.
Fine.
Let him bury himself. Go on.
Are you not going to let him speak?
I just wanted to ask him. Husam, wallahi, I just wanted to tell him, we are happy to forgive you if you just say, hey, actually, I was just doing it for the show last week. I didn't really mean it.
No. Okay,
then we'll say,
Okay, so you want me to speak, yeah? I'll speak.
Yes. Go on.
Yeah, how do I get out of this one, lads? Right, okay. Chat GPT, help me out here, yo. Right, okay, so situation update. Developments have been made. Okay, so first of all, Yeah, I would just say this. Saka on that penalty, I don't know what you're doing, bro. Yeah, I'll be real. Yeah, what are you doing? But
I know what you're saying.
Rodrygo was very poor in both legs, as were all the attack for Real Madrid. And Saka was very, very good in both legs. For me, I now have Saka as a world-class player. Last week I said he's there or thereabouts. I need him to deliver. If you actually remember what I said last week, I said I need him to do something big in a big game. And yesterday I thought he was excellent. So that seals the deal. I think they're both world-class players. But I think if you offered me one right now, I'd take Saka over Rodrygo. There you go. Happy to.
Oh, well, that's a development and a half.
What do you mean that's a development and a half?
Take Saka over Rodrygo.
I would say, I think Saka for me is just phenomenal. And what he's been doing this season, and especially coming back from this injury, it's very impressive.
Look, honestly, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I don't usually do this shameless thing, except at the start of the stream, I really did go shameless on purpose. But it was obviously a historic win. When LB comes out saying, "Yeah, things have changed. I changed my mind," I'm not gonna banter him. I'm not gonna banter him because some people are stubborn and they'll not want to change their mind. He's at least accepted.
I change my mind all the time. People call me flip flop all the time, yeah, but I'm not flip flop.
Yeah, that's fair. There's no flip flop. Yeah.
I genuinely last week wasn't even doing it for the content. Yeah, I did have Rodrygo, but let's not act like Rodrygo's a bum. Yeah, Rodrygo's a very good player. He was shit.
No, I love Rodrygo.
Yeah, he was shit in both ties. Yeah, but I'd still take him at City if I had the opportunity. But for me, Saka is delivering goals. He's delivering assists. And last night he went to the Bernabeu. That's what I was looking for, really. I was waiting for, and I did sort of say this last week. I was waiting for Saka to step up, yeah, in a big game where the eyes were on him. And obviously, when he missed that penalty, I was like, shit, I'm in the same looking good, bruv. But then the way he come back from it, and then the finish was cold. Yeah, man, what can I say in it? Top player, man.
Can I say this on? Can I say this on Saka?
Wait.
Yeah, go ahead, Sam.
You know something, LB? The game yesterday is.
One sec, I can't hear you, bro. 1 minute.
No, his volume was low. He was speaking away from the mic.
There you go.
For me,
can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, let me tell you something. And LB, this comes back to the previous debate. This is exactly why we use educated guesses and hypotheticals. Because if I take Saka and put him on Real Madrid for the last 4 years, guess what? They're going to have as many Champions Leagues.
Yeah,
they might be a bit more consistent, get more league titles. There's a reason why people say... One second. One second. I'm not doing SMR here.
Yeah.
There's a reason why people say if Gerrard just moved to Chelsea in 05 when they wanted him, he would have been a league champion as well. And this is exactly why, for me personally, and this is just me, I don't use trophies to compare individuals because individuals are individuals and I look at them individually in their specific situations. But when it comes to Saka and Rodrygo, there is a reason why I rated Saka above Rodrygo. And I rate Saka above Foden.
Fine, isn't it?
And I rate Saka above Palmer. I think Saka is so disrespected. He's one of the most disrespected footballers in football history. He really is. And I think people just look at... No, one second.
Name me someone, LB. Name me someone.
Can I talk? On my own show, can I talk?
Neymar is the most disrespected footballer of all time.
Neymar is disrespected. People call him third best player in this generation. Be quiet.
No, some people say he's shit, bro.
Yeah, then I agree with LB. Actually, I changed my mind. I agree with LB.
There are literal human beings who walk this earth who say Diallo is better than Saka. You want to go there?
Who?
Yeah, exactly.
Bro, that guy does it for content, Husam. But anyways.
No, he does not. He actually believes it. Anyway, back to the topic. As I was saying before I was rudely interrupted by my ginger guest. When I'm looking at Bukayo Saka, there are two wingers in the world that are more disrespected than everyone else. Saka and Salah. And the reason why they're so disrespected is they consistently put up numbers, they consistently score in big games, they consistently get the GA, but because they don't necessarily look sexy doing it, people keep disrespecting them. Prime example was LB last week, saying Rodrygo is better than Saka and Salah.
No, but that's not disrespectful.
No.
Rodrygo's an elite level player that's playing at Real Madrid.
Rodrygo's not elite. Rodrygo's not elite. Everyone, stop it. When we're talking about elite, elite is Luka Modric. Elite is Kylian Mbappe.
Oh, I'm not getting into another debate
about
what's elite, what's world
elite
class.
Is not Rodrygo, okay? Rodrygo is a very good player, but he could never do what Saka does for Arsenal.
Yeah.
Could never do it. That's just the reality of the situation. The only player who I actually believe could probably do what Saka does for Arsenal from the wingers in world football is Vinicius and Salah. Those are the two I would tell you right now, better than Saka, no problem. Despite Vinny not having a good season. Mbappe I don't count as a winger. Now I think I look at him as a striker, to be honest. Okay. So fair. I think those are the two you could legitimately say are better than Bukayo Saka. But other than that, I look at Saka's consistency and the way that he's been consistent for this last 4 or 5 year period, and he's just been absolutely incredible, to be honest with you. Just quickly before we get all you guys' opinions in, make sure you guys are liking the video, make sure you guys are subscribing to the channel if you're ready to do so. Big up to everyone who joined us from the football terrace. So big up to all of you guys. Please like and subscribe now. Big up to Terry for the redirect as well. Let's get 200 likes ASAP. So
Husam, I want to ask you then.
Yes.
Who's better? Because you mentioned the only guys who can do what Saka did for Arsenal are Vinny, Salah. You don't count Mbappe, but if he was counted, you would probably pick Mbappe as well.
Of course.
Does that mean Saka's better than Yamal right now? Because start of the season or mid-season, you had Yamal clear from him.
I'd have Yamal over Saka.
No, I don't mind that. But you had him clear.
If you tell me to sign someone as the Salah replacement, I'm choosing Yamal. Just based off of potential and age. But right now, who's better? Like this very second, Saka's better right now.
Okay, so you have changed your opinion, which is fair.
Yeah,
because you had Yamal higher.
I really think, I think it was Jack who put this in my comment section yesterday. Big up to Jack. Bro, listen, I don't know why Arsenal haven't played like this all season long in terms of style, in terms of way, because they are clearly capable of it, even without Havertz playing. Next time an Arsenal fan uses the Odegaard injury as the reason why they didn't win the league, I'm just going to laugh in their face, because Odegaard was your worst player in both legs. No one can convince me otherwise. Kivior was better than Odegaard. Literally every player on the pitch that had an Arsenal shirt was better than Odegaard. He's so frustrating. He's actually the Norwegian Soboslai. Like, he just does not want to take risks at all. But he runs and he presses and he works hard. That's who Odegaard is. I was so frustrated watching him yesterday. There was a moment in the first half, 2 moments in the first half, that could be moment defining in the semi-final that he completely ruined. He had 2 chances to slip Saka through, and one time he overhit the pass, and the other time he underhit the pass. This is your number 10 captain. The one thing I will say about Saka though is, and this is obviously we are nitpicking when we're talking about talents around the world. If I'm an Arsenal fan, I don't want Bukayo Saka taking high pressure penalties, because this has happened against West Ham, this has happened for England, etc. Right now, if I'm an Arsenal fan, I'm telling, listen, Declan, you're the penalty taker now.
I agree.
The way that he strikes a football, I would trust him to score a penalty in a Champions League final.
I agree.
Guys,
100%.
Let me tell you why I disagree and why I think that's a wrong take. For starters, the England miss he had, obviously it was scarring. He was super young. He was 18 or 19 at the time. He's actually come back really well after that. He scored some big moment penalties for us, like the penalty against who did he scored a penalty against, was it Liverpool? I think Liverpool in the Premier League when we were challenging. He scored a penalty against City when we were playing for the league and we had to top the league, but obviously we ended up losing 3-1 that game, but that wasn't because of him, that was because of Tomiyasu and stuff. The West Ham thing doesn't really matter. Yes, he's missed a penalty, but lots of big players have missed penalties. Actually, based on yesterday, and I know this was,
what do you mean the West Ham penalty miss doesn't matter?
No, it matters, but I'm saying that alone should not rule out the other penalties he scored in clutch moments. Even in England, by the way, he scored a penalty, I think.
It's a very simple question, because I think Husam was very fair there, yeah? We've all just glazed Saka, but you're telling me Champions League final, 90th minute, yeah?
Saka.
In fact, let's say you're 1-0 down, yeah? This is to equalise, otherwise you've lost. It has to go in.
Yeah.
You're crazy.
Saka,
you're actually crazy.
I'll explain to you guys why. One second. I'll explain to you guys why. For starters, he's taken a lot of penalties for us and he scored them well. Initially, I used to hate his penalties because he used to play those penalties where he would just guess where the keeper is going and play the other side, which means if the keeper jumped the correct way, it's definitely saved. Recently, his penalties have been a lot better when he actually
take that penalty in that moment. Are you mad?
One second. I'm coming to it. Where now his penalties have become a lot better when he actually aims them to the extreme side. People are going to look at yesterday and be like, oh my God, you saw what he did yesterday. I'll be honest, while I was pissed off and he shouldn't have done that, but for me, penalties in high pressure moments require elite mentality. They require someone who can handle immense pressure. Of course, Rice can handle it too. I'm not saying he cannot, but Saka has been there more, in my opinion. And yesterday, the reason why he Panenka, and I know you guys were talking about it earlier, and LB said, I don't know why the hell he did that. And I was like, I know why he did that. Because this guy was asked about before the first leg, you aspire to get to Vinicius and Mbappe's level and stuff. He's like, I don't look at it that way. I think I'm already at that level. I think he took that stuff personally, where he's like, I'm going to show these guys I am at that mentality.
That's a major red flag.
No, one second, LB.
Someone's asked him a question, and so because someone's asked him a question in a crucial moment, he's decided to take a penalty in a different way.
No. I'm saying no. I don't think he did it. I don't think he did it because of the press conference of 2 weeks ago. I'm just explaining like his mentality by the way he answered, and then he comes to that game. I think he had so much confidence. Yes, the Panenka execution was bad. If he put it through the middle, we'd all be sitting here and be like, cojones. But he put it through the left
because of the question.
No. I don't think. No, I gave the question as reference of how he answered. He could have easily said, "Yeah, I hope to one day get to what they have done," but he didn't. He said, "I think I'm already at that level," which shows high mentality. And then I'm also adding to it by saying, I think the reason he took the Panenka is because he was confident in that immense pressure that, bruh, I've got this shit. Now, yes, it was bad. One second. Yes, I agree. It was bad execution. It was bad execution. The decision to Panenka, I don't. The decision to Panenka, I don't think was bad. The Panenka itself was bad. And if you noticed what happened at halftime, Carvajal came down, obviously just to rile up Saka, which is fair. I have no issues with that. I'm not against mind games. I'm not against players trying to play dirty tactics or trying to play mind games, because that's part of the game. He comes and he tries to rile up Saka by telling him, oh, missed penalty. Because Saka initially thought Carvajal was trying to actually tell him something. So Saka went to hug him and listen. When Carvajal started provoking him, he just walked away. Carvajal wouldn't let him go. He started pulling his hand away and started talking to him. Saka pushed him away, trying to walk away. Carvajal still chases him and pulls him. And he's doing it on purpose. He's trying to rile him up at halftime, right? And yet the guy comes out, still performs in the second half.
Wait a sec. That's got nothing to do with the question that Husam asked.
I am coming to the penalty. I'm coming. I know I went a long way.
Before half-time, you are aware of that.
Yes. I'm explaining why I think he should continue being our penalty taker. And then he gets into that moment when he's one-on-one and still Panenkas or still chips the keeper. The reason these are all reasons why I want him to remain as our penalty taker, because not only is he a good penalty taker, but he's shown time and time again since that penalty miss against for England, that he can handle pressure, he can handle criticism, he can handle the big stages. And you said it yourself, LB. You and many fans, and I'm not against that, said you wanted to see him in the big stages. Can you go play at the hostile environment of Madrid?
No, hang on a minute, though, Ashraf. Yeah, you've gone way too far here. This was a very simple question. If you get a penalty, who takes it going forward?
Saka.
But even though he's missed a penalty,
yes, because even though
he doesn't need to do, he's missed penalties before in big moments.
He took
Declan Rice there, who, in my opinion, is much more chill and he's a better player to have in a high pressure penalty situation. And I think he kicks.
How do you know that? How do you know that? We haven't seen him do that enough.
I just think so. I think he is. That's my opinion.
Yeah. But by your logic, doing your thing, we know facts. Saka has scored big moment penalties. Big penalties I think big Rice games.
Strikes the ball better than Saka, and I just think he's not.
Yeah, but the sad reality is Messi strikes the ball better than any human ever to play the game, but his penalty conversion rate is like 70-something%. That has nothing to do with Messi's quality. Just because you strike the ball so well doesn't mean you're a good penalty taker.
I'm going to say a big allegation here. I think you're putting your Saka PR above what's best for Arsenal.
I swear to you, I'm not, bro. I've actually been called a Saka hater before.
I've been called just so much the better penalty option in big moments than Saka. In my
I do agree with that.
Guys, but you haven't seen Rice take penalties. How do you know that?
We got our apology for the Rodrygo thing, so me and you were right, because he's just better, mate. Didn't work out this week. Big up to everyone locked in. By the way, LB told me what he honestly thinks yesterday. You get me? Because he said, I think Rodrygo dunked on us too many times, and that's why I rate him so highly. But yesterday he was like, let's be serious. Anyway,
I will say this though, because the response, I watched this other show where a guy was having this argument with Will, and he was saying, he's on Vinny's level. Bruh, let's also calm down, Arsenal fans. He's not on Vinny's level yet, because yes, I agree he's world class. I think within world class you can have different levels. Vinny has done it for maybe
he's in the category above. He's like in the elite category. That's the thing. Anyway,
exactly.
let's move over to Liverpool because another LBL take. Before we do that, big up to all 600 people locked in. Make sure you guys are liking. Make sure you guys are subscribing. Everyone, please hit the like button. Everyone, please subscribe. This is like the LB investigation at this point. As my brother Redline Taranga pointed out at the start of the stream, hi LB, you fraud. Thought Mo and Van Dijk were gone. Man was so adamant. Now you look like a bozo. Big up LB still. So talk to me, LB. Van Dijk and Salah have both signed contracts. So now what?
Good for Liverpool. Great news for Liverpool. I don't think it's not. That wasn't a controversial take. It was in April. The season ends in less than 6 weeks, and they both hadn't signed contracts. So I don't think it was a mad take. But yeah, fair play. 400 grand a week for Van Dijk at the age of 35 is good going. But Liverpool had to give him the money, and they had to give Salah the money. So yeah, I think both players have done well. The clubs will be happy. You've got to hope they don't fall off, innit?
Is it 2 years for both?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's not bad. I think that's not bad. It doesn't matter if it's 400k because even if they dip after next season, at least you've gotten one amazing season. Yeah, you can just sell them exactly. And there will be Van Dijk until 37 probably will still have big clubs chasing him up until 36, 37. So he's still got 3 years at least. Salah, I agree. Maybe there's not a big market for him, but Van Dijk definitely has a market. So I don't think it's a bad choice at all. And losing Salah would have been criminal because even if the only thing I would say, Husam, and I've heard you on most shows saying it will not affect you in the summer transfer window. I don't know if I'd be so confident of that. I feel like that might impact how many players you bring in.
I don't.
Yeah, why do you guys always do this? Like, what does this him signing a new contract impact signing?
I don't.
I think he'll make signings, but I just don't think.
It's like if you okay, LB agrees with me, but like Ashraf, there's so many people bring up this point. Like, how does two players renewing a contract, okay?
But they're not renewing; they're going on a higher contract.
Trent leaves. The Trent's wages is essentially going to Salah and Van Dijk. That's it, yeah.
But do you not think? Okay, you probably would know better. That's what I'm going to ask you. Was there maybe not a plan that if Trent renews, they wouldn't give these contracts to these two players? I remember some Liverpool fans saying this where
based off of what they've done over these last like 8 years have earned it. So they both got the contract extensions of 400 grand a week and they have to deliver. And there is like appearance related stuff and goals and assists for Salah and like blah, blah, blah for Van Dijk. So it's like, it's complete. Like this Liverpool contract situation is complicated. I think they now own the image rights or blah, 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 something like this. So like any advertising or blah, 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 they make a section off of it. So this, you know what this proves? The FSG authors were right all along. LB from the outside looking in was right all along. Why? Because we knew Liverpool have this money. So when LB would go do a show with the top red or whatever it is, and the guy would be like, "Oh my God, do you think Liverpool are Man City? We can't afford to pay these players." Obviously, we cannot afford. Obviously, we have money. Obviously, we're like one of the richest clubs in the world. So just put the money on the table. People
can I play devil's advocate?
People always say stuff like, "Why don't you call out your owners instead of insulting City's owners?" Me, I'm honest. I do both. I do both. I cuss City and I cuss my owners. I'm having fun with it, bro. Because I know if you tell me main culprit why Liverpool haven't been more successful over the last 8 years, I'll tell you Fenway Sports Group. Like I have no problem saying this. Jurgen Klopp is literally wanted at Real Madrid right now. Can we allow this whole like proof for everyone in the chat? Ashraf, if you had Klopp over this last 2 years, would you have at least had one title?
I think so.
Chat, you heard that. Arsenal fan here. He just watched his team slap under 5-1. So for me, like, I'm looking at this ownership group and it just proves that they were capable of doing this all along.
Can I ask you a question then, Husam? When do you think Van Dijk and Salah made the decision to stay? It's a loaded question because I have another question coming in.
I think they always wanted to stay. I think
they always wanted to
give them 400 grand a week.
No. Okay, sorry. I should have asked.
I would assume most likely because here's what they both signed. They signed 2 years plus one option. So there's an option.
By the way, you try to cook me. Husam will back me up. I've always said I think Salah and Van Dijk want to stay. I've always said that.
Yeah, they wanted to.
I always said
don't know.
I've always said
if you
that.
gave them the same contract in August, they would have signed it.
No, sorry.
I've always said
the question I should have asked is my bad. The question I should have asked is, when do you think FSG?
Van Dijk and Salah are leaving, Ashraf. So Liverpool gonna finish 6th.
No. What? You don't know what I'm gonna say, Husam.
No, I'm cooking LB, not you, Habibi. He's
I thought you cooked me out. Husam, when do you think FSG decided to give the contracts to Van Dijk and Salah? Do you think they always plan to give it to them? Or
February onwards. I think February onwards.
Okay,
I give you an honest reason. Since January, like February, March, we did not see Salah or Van Dijk do interviews where like we want to stay, but the club don't offer anything. So like, so from August until January, I would assume, and this is just an intelligent guess, from August until January, I would assume both of them wanted to stay, but the club wasn't offering what they wanted. That's just my assumption. And then February, they probably get better negotiations and blah, blah, blah.
Maybe. Can I give you my theory why I asked that question? The reason I asked that question is because I feel they probably would have finally agreed on it like a month ago. Because I remember Van Dijk a couple of weeks ago when he said in the press conference, I think after PSG, he said, if anyone tells you they know what's happening, they're lying because I don't know myself. No decision has been made, blah, blah, blah. If I go by those words and FSG only decided to give them the contract 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, I feel part of the reason could be, and again, you and Liverpool fans will know finances better, when Liverpool saw we're definitely winning the league, we're definitely getting that extra revenue, we can use that money now for this contract as well. I feel like that maybe could have played something to convince them even more. That now we have, because I don't think FSG planned in the summer. I'm like, obviously they made signings last year, whatever it is, but I don't think FSG had any plans this summer or last summer that involved them winning the league this season. I don't think they said, I think we'll win the league this season and we can make a decision. I genuinely think, like most Liverpool fans, they thought they'll finish 2nd, 3rd, 4th.
Yes.
Okay, so but then that means extra injection of
right now unexpected league title.
No.
Okay, there you go. So by that logic, don't you think this extra injection of cash was a happy surprise to them?
They're not brokies, man.
No,
I know they're not brokies, LB, but they have a model that they believe in. I don't agree with the model, but that's their belief. Their belief is, this is our model. This is what we do in America.
Can I give you a financial reason why it makes sense? I'm giving you a financial reason why it makes sense. 400 grand a week over these next 2 years for Salah and Van Dijk is significantly cheaper than finding a Salah Van Dijk replacement for the same exact money. 40 M's, 40 million. They're going to earn 40 million over these next 2 years. Give me 40 million right now in cash flow. I can't find you a center back that does what Van Dijk does. Give me 40 million. I don't find a winger that does what Salah does.
But they're not only looking at it that way, Husam. They're looking at, okay, even if we have to spend the transfer money, this player becomes an asset to us, because if we need to sell them in 6-7 years, we make that kind of money back.
Salah to Saudi a year from now for 40 million. You recouped exactly what you paid to Roma. You can sell Van Dijk to Saudi a year from now for 25 million. 30 million.
Maybe they didn't believe they can sell him for that. Look, I agree with you. Look, I agree with your logic. I think that's what they should be doing. But I just feel, because a month ago they kind of secured the league when Arsenal bottled the 2 games in a row. I think it became super, super clear that Liverpool are 100% winning the league. There was not even 1% doubt anymore. And I think that's when they probably were like, because Van Dijk said after the PSG game, if anyone tells you they know what's happening, that's absolute BS. So if I go by what he's saying and if what he wasn't lying, then I think after they secured the league, they're like, bro, we have that extra money, we'll give it. That's wrong. I think you should have given them the contracts regardless from the start of the season.
You're wrong on that theory, 100%. The reason why Liverpool give them the contracts is because they're mint, not because they've got money from winning the league. You cannot.
But they were mint all season, LB. They were mint all season.
Yeah, exactly.
And
what happens is Van Dijk, but you got to remember their ages, right? Van Dijk's 33 and Salah's 32, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Usually at that age, your wage goes down, not up. So Salah and Van Dijk have been going, we want 400 grand a week. And Liverpool are going, it should go the other way. It should go the other way. Like Kevin De Bruyne wanted a contract. He wanted 150, wanted to go down. Yeah, so they've been negotiating with the players. The players are going, we ain't lowering our wages. We're mint. Yeah, and they're going, we know you're mint, but you're 33, 32. The wage goes down. Then Trent decides he's leaving. They probably found that out in maybe January, February time. The pressure's ramped up. And then every game that Liverpool play, Salah and Van Dijk are absolutely mega. And as every day that goes by, the pressure's ramping up, and they've just gone, fairs, we've got to give them 400 grand a week. It's got nothing to do with.
I don't know, LB, because all reports by Liverpool journalists is that Trent everyone had a feeling Trent is going to leave from like a year ago. It's not like new news.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
if FSG were that stupid that they didn't think Trent is leaving,
no,
like,
you missed can I explain the point that I made? Because I think you missed it, but maybe I didn't explain it properly. The point that I'm making is, yes, they maybe knew that Trent was leaving last year, but when basically it become crystal clear and it become out in the press, right, and people become, even before it properly dropped like 3 weeks ago, even before that, everyone knew he was leaving, the pressure starts to ramp up on the board and the owners, because the fans start yapping at the owners and saying, how are you just going to let Van Dijk, Salah and Trent leave in one season on a free, whilst simultaneously Salah's dropping these mad numbers and Van Dijk is, and they've just gone, basically Salah and Van Dijk had the club over a barrel. They've used that to their advantage, and the club have just gone fairs, 400 grand a week.
I just feel owners that are that, you can call them stingy or whatever it is, whatever the word you want to use is. I just feel owners like that, who are at that high level when they're running massive conglomerates, would not fold just out of pressure like that. I feel like some equation should have changed, not pressure. Some other equation should have changed, whether it's cash flow or something, because I know how these American investors think. Like, I work with a lot of them. I don't feel like they would just change their minds because, we are feeling pressure from the fans. I feel like,
but I don't think it was like that. I think they probably looked at it. They've probably been having discussions going, they want 400 grand a week, but we're only going to give them 200 grand a week because they're older. And as the season's gone on, they've had more and more conversations. And then what Husam said was right as well, in that they've probably sat there and say, well, Salah's doing all these numbers. If we give him 400 grand a week, it's going to cost us 40 million quid. Is that per year?
So no, 20 per year, 40 over the 2 years.
It's going to cost us 40 million pounds for the 2-year contract. That's the cost. But he's breaking records. If we let him go on a free, we can go out there and buy that guy from Spain who Arsenal might be signing. What's he called?
Nico Williams.
We can go out and buy Nico Williams. Well, that straight away it's 50 million quid. So you've already spent more money on that, and he's probably like 99.99% not going to do the numbers of Salah. That's fair, isn't it? Yeah.
And then you've got to give him wages of like 100 grand a week.
Got the wages. So they've probably sat there, and again, this sort of backs up to what you were saying in terms of like the stinginess. So they've gone, it's probably not worth the risk. Let's just give the guy what he wants. 400 grand a week. Yeah. Is it pretty mad considering his age? Yeah. However, it's less risky than letting him go on a free and getting this guy in from Spain.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. I just don't know why they'd fold now.
Let me just say this before we do the super chats and we get out of here. And people, what people usually say is the following. People go like, but what if this guy knocks on the door or that guy knocks on the door? No Liverpool player is knocking on the door based off of Salah and Van Dijk wages. Because Salah and Van Dijk have been doing it for 8 years. So it's not like McAllister's going to knock on the door and go like, oh, Salah is on 400 grand a week. I'm just as important as him. Give me 400 grand a week. That's not happening. The Van Dijk thing is the same. It's not happening. So, yeah. So now you get your Van Dijk and Salah replacements who are 20, 21, 22 while they're here. They learn off of them. And when Van Dijk and Salah sail into the sunset, we have our 2 replacements.
I think Liverpool didn't have a choice, yeah. And I think what this is also, for me, backed up is that wage structures are fine, they're good, but there is times in every club's history where they must be broken. You look at Chelsea at the start of the season. I said, get Osimhen. No, we don't want to sign Osimhen. It'll break the wage structure. It's 300 grand a week. You needed to break the wage structure. Liverpool, you cannot let Van Dijk and Salah leave on a free transfer because the players you're going to get in are going to cost money and they're going to be worse. You have to break the wage structure. City, Erling Haaland, 10-year contract, mad wages. You have to break. So you can't just. You have to change. Your club has to change, man.
Yeah, I agree.
Honestly, it's a great one for Liverpool. And I think the fact that they've got them both on a 2-year contract rather than a 3-year contract has not been spoken about enough, because I actually think that's really, really good for Liverpool.
Yeah,
you know. Because
so I guess FSB are smart owners.
Yeah, stop it. Anyway, let's let me read these 2 super chats before we get out of here, my people. So. Big up to my guy AMT says Real Madrid with world-class players play with freedom should do better than a team that is coached, or the other way around.
No, you're right.
Go ahead.
No, I was saying players who have freedom naturally should perform better. The team might not do better, right? The team might not do better, and that's why you need a system. But players who have that kind of freedom, even if they have a bad game, even if the team has a bad game, you will still come out saying, yeah, but look at Vinny Jr., he dribbled past this guy, and he tried, and stuff like that. So the fact that Saka is outperforming all these guys while having to sprint back and defend and stick to the system is pretty remarkable.
You know, prime example of this is me growing up, Rafa Benitez. He outcoached so many elite managers with way worse teams. If I read you some of the teams we came up against, like the Italian teams, like even Chelsea, etc., but he outcoached them in one-off games, and I think coaching is very important in knockout competitions, unless you have elite talent that will supersede your coaching. World-class definition, in my opinion, world-class means when the player makes you wow and look up to it. Yeah, but then,
What?
like, the reason why I think that's a wrong definition as well is some mid players have made us go wow every now and then. Like, I promise you, Hatem Ben Arfa scored a goal for Newcastle that will make anyone watching go like, wow. But that doesn't make me say, oh, Hatem Ben Arfa world class. Like, there are some goals Tarab scored for QPR. Szoboszlai would pull a hamstring doing. But Szoboszlai, factually, whether we like it or not, is closer to world class than Tarab is. So, like, that's the reality. Saka has more Champions League knockout goals than Fatzard. You know what's funny
and
about
this is why you never bring that Hazard into these conversations.
The PSG game, you know something with me. You cannot cook a football historian. You can't. After the PSG game, people said Hazard could never. 10 years ago, PSG knocked out Chelsea in the round of 16 of the Champions League with 10 men at Stamford Bridge, with Hazard playing all 120 minutes and doing nothing. Like, this is why when we start to nitpick some of these like elite players, you start to understand that nostalgia is not the be all and end all. Oh, I will never say Salah is better than Hazard ever. Okay, just because you grew up watching him, like that makes him better than everyone else. Sometimes we have to put the nostalgia in the bag and respect what some of these current players are doing. That's what I'll honestly say. Saka took Panenka because we were 3-0 up. He took risks. That's what makes players world class. Listen, I'll say this to the Arsenal fans: you don't have to justify everything your players do. Like, it's
but guys, honestly, if we were 0-0 on aggregate, you think he would have Panenka the penalty? Genuinely, I'm asking genuinely.
No, but I still think that was a ridiculous decision.
Yeah, I know, but that's not my question. My question is
to the side as well. Panenka and
I agree, guys. I already said that the execution was bad, but I'm asking you guys, if the score was 0-0 on aggregate, do you guys think he would have tried a Panenka?
I don't know that.
I don't think he probably would. But that for me shows inexperience and naivety from Saka that he did that.
Not really. I mean, Alexis Sanchez has done it in a big moment. Hakimi did it in the World Cup against Spain. Well, Pirlo is world class, but he did it in a Euro quarterfinal. Was it quarterfinal? Bro, yeah, Zidane did it. Zidane did it in a World Cup final.
No.
Zidane did it in a World Cup final and almost missed. It actually hit the post.
It's Zidane. Bro, Saka had the chance,
but it's still a World Cup final.
4-0 up after 10 minutes of the second leg and completely dead that tie within 10 minutes, and he chose.
Guys, the tie was dead after the first leg. It was dead after the first leg. I'm sorry.
Come on.
Bro, come on, I'm sorry, bro. I know they said like, oh, remontada, we're going to close the stadium, close the roof, we're going to get...
I think you're naive, bro, if I'm being honest with you, yeah, because...
Guys, 3-0 against a team that doesn't concede more than 2 goals. Like, come on, bro, we're not bums. If it's Osasuna, I'd say, yeah, maybe. If it's Aston Villa, I'd say maybe.
I'm not saying you're bums, but what
I know, I'm not, yeah, I know.
And in my opinion, Saka in that moment shows personal sort of like glaze over securing that victory for the side.
I understand that, but he made up for it later, right?
Yeah,
so that kind of,
of course he did.
Yeah.
100%.
If he didn't score, it probably would have ended. The game would have ended. We would have gone through anyways, but at least we would have ended the game.
Put the prize in the bag, innit? That's all I'm saying, man. And he didn't.
He did after.
Van Dijk said a big summer is coming. Yes, that's one of the things actually that excited me about the announcement. Van Dijk fully said that, like, they've and this is why people just want to have so many, like, people just act like Van Dijk and Salah can't ask Edwards about the plans this summer. Like, people just have these shit conversations about football where it's like Edwards is the only guy responsible and he's just sat there behind the computer and no one can talk to him. Bro, obviously they spoke to him. It's obvious. If they're gonna sign a contract, they want to know what the hell is coming this summer. You get me?
Husam, while I hear that, but there's so much evidence to debunk that. Hakimi, Mbappe was told by Khalifi some promises that were never fulfilled, and he signed a contract. Harry Kane was given a gentleman's agreement by Daniel Levy. It was never fulfilled. Van Persie was given some promises by Ivan Gazidis at the time, never fulfilled. He ended up leaving. Owners sometimes know how to lie to get. By the way, I do think you guys will spend in the summer because you haven't spent big last summer. So obviously you're not going to go 2 summers in a row without spending. It's absurd to even think about. But
regarding
saying Edwards said that, yeah.
Listen, Ashraf, I have Ornstein, I have Fabrizio, who have both told me Van Dijk and Salah have spoken to the club about future plans. So I just know players of that quality and stature at the football club can do it. Yani, they've delivered 2 league titles now in 5 years, a Champions League. They've done it all. They've been on Van Dijk, they've both been on podiums. They've both been absolutely incredible in everything. I know for a fact they've had a conversation. 100% they've had a conversation. Not necessarily for you to go like Edwards sat there and went like, "Yo, Salah, we're gonna sign player X," but at least to hear the plans. Like, I don't think there's anything
profiles and all.
Yeah, profiles like, "Oh, are you gonna get me a striker, or I'm gonna keep playing through balls to Nunes?" Adi, yani, that's a normal question. Regarding Benitez, I would take him, not Emery, is what AMT is saying. I mean, Benitez, like, tactically as a coach, bro, guy was a tactician, definitely, you know, but he's at fault why we didn't win 08-09 because he sold Robbie Keane. Worst decision in Liverpool history to sell Robbie Keane. We all knew David Ngo was going to be the striker when Torres got injured. Anyway, big up to everyone locked in. Thank you guys so much for joining us on yet another stream. All the channels are in the description. Go give them a subscribe. Big up to LB. It's LB more LB in the description. Ashraf Talks Football in the description. And Forest Fan TV in the description. Give this channel a subscribe as well. We are under 200 subscribers away from the big 50K, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get there before the end of this month.
Come on, guys.
Let's go.
Convert like Moreno. Come on. Convert like Moreno. Get him there.
Better conversion rate than Hazard. Love you all. And this stream is going to take you over to Man United Leon. Vamos, Leon. Matic was right. Big up Leon. And this is for Shirky watch as well. I promise you, Shirky could happen, guys. So let's watch. Love you all.